Before I start this video, I do want to make sure we understand what we're doing and kind of the goal of this. When I'm using matrices and I'm using my calculator and that rref command, which is what we're going to be going over throughout this lesson, this is a fourth way to solve systems of linear equations. We have already learned how to graph. We have already learned how to solve by substitution. We've already learned how to solve by elimination. So the fourth way to get the exact same answer. So I want to make sure we understand kind of what we're doing here before we get started. Okay, so in lesson 3, we went over row echelon form. Now we're going to go over reduced row echelon form, which is a much better form. And you'll see it abbreviated in your calculator as that rref. So when we have 2 variables, we're looking for this. And when we have 3 variables, we're looking for this. So what is this? We are looking for still that diagonal of ones. We are looking for everything below that diagonal to be zeros. And in row echelon form, that's all we were looking for. Everything else could be numbers. But now we're going to take it a step further, and we want everything above that diagonal to also be zeros. So we want a row of diagonals, and then everything below and everything above to be zeros as well. This is nice because this tells me my solution. This first equation here reads, if this is my x and y column, tells me I have one x but no y's, so x equals a. The second equation here tells me no x's but one y, or just y equals b. So now I have my solution. If my solution is in the form of x comma y, then my solution is the ordered pair a comma b. Okay, exact same thing when I have 3 variables. Now we have an x, a y, and a z column. This first equation here is that x equals a. We have one x, no y, no z. The second one here is y equals b. We have one y, but no x or z. And this third one here is that z equals c. We have no x, no y, but one z equals c. So now with 3 variables, my solution is in the form of x comma y comma z. And so my solution is a, b, c. So what's nice about this is there's no back substitution. It tells you exactly what all 2 or 3 of your variables equal. So let's go through how to put this in our calculator, and then I'm going to have the instructions down here, but I want you to follow along with me as we go through this one right here. So let me I already have that programmed, so I wanted to unprogram really quickly. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is get into our matrix, which is right here above that x to the -1. So because it's in blue, we're going to hit second x to the -1, and we're going to come over here to edit. Now I always edit matrix A. I never mess around with B, C, D, and so on. You would want to program this for multiple matrices if you were wanting to do different things with different matrices, like add them together, multiply them together, stuff like that. But we're not going to be doing multiple things with different matrices at one time. So I would just honestly always stick to matrix A, but it's your preference. So I'm at matrix A, so I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to enter this in. Matrices are always in the form of row by column. If you remember RC Cola from, back in the day, that's how I remember it's row by column. And so here we have 1, 2, 3 rows by 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So we're going to punch in 3/4. Now, if you happen to get it backwards, which is, not uncommon, and you accidentally do 4/3, you can just look here and you can see that this dimension is not the same as this dimension here. So just change it if you get it backwards. Okay. Now punch this in. Now I already have a 5 right there, so I'm just going to hit enter and it goes on to the next one. I don't need to clear off any of these zeros. I'm just going to punch in -10 and hit enter. It rewrites over what's previously there and it moves on to the next box. So I'm going to write 5. I don't need to clear off that 0. I'm going to write 5 and then hit enter and it's just going to rewrite over it. So these should be really, really quick to do. And you're just typing in the number, hitting enter, and it goes to the next one. I cannot stress this enough. When we are done punching this in, please, please, please check that you put in everything correctly. I'm going to go through each row. We've got 5, 2, -4, -10, -5, 1, 5, -6, 4, -20, -2, 6. It is that quick, but it is so important. If you accidentally put in a 5 here instead of a 4, your calculator doesn't know what you meant. It knows what you put in it. So don't get the question wrong because you punched in something incorrectly and then didn't take the 3 seconds it takes to check to make sure you put everything in right. So once we have entered and once we have checked, we're going to quit. We're going to get out of that. So quit is right here above mode in blue. So we're going to hit second mode. Okay, it's going to seem very redundant, but I promise it's not. We need to go into matrix again. And we're going to now arrow over to math. You can arrow down if you want, but it takes a lot more. If you arrow up, it's a lot quicker. And we're going to go up to matrix B, your rref. So remember, that's different than ref. That is row echelon form. We want reduced row echelon form. So it'll always be on B, rref. I really don't know why you would ever want to use ref over rref. So we're going to hit enter. Now, a common mistake is that you're going to hit enter in your calculator right after that, and you're going to get a syntax error because you have not told your calculator what matrix to put into reduced row echelon form. So we need to go second matrix one more time and then select whatever matrix you programmed. If you're always programming matrix A, like I do, you'll stay right there and you'll hit enter and you get your answer right here. Now you'll find out in my math lab, if you haven't already, that it is picky. Read the little things in parentheses to tell you how to write the answers. It will save you so much time and so much frustration. But oftentimes it does not like decimals. It's going to want fractions. So whether it's in matrix or any number, if you go here to math, the very first option is to change it to fractions. This works for matrix as well. And we can get our answer right here. So we have this matrix, we used our rref, and now my matrix is this right here. We have -35 over 16, 1/2, and -13 over 16. So this tells me all of my answers, right? If this is my X column, my Y column, and my Z column, this first equation is X equals -35 over 16. This one is Y equals 1/2. And my third equation is that Z equals -13 over 16. Now, let's go ahead and do it. My math lab usually wants X, Y, and Z, but I like ordered pairs. So this is -35 over 16, comma 1/2, comma negative 13 over 16. Okay, so rewriting that video if I went too fast or I missed you somewhere. And then also you can pause this video here and write down these instructions. If you notice, I have highlighted this check because again, I cannot stress enough. Take the time, the whole 5 seconds it takes to check your calculator to make sure that you've entered in that matrix right. Don't get it wrong because you accidentally entered it in some number incorrectly. I also want to stress that when your homework, your test, your quiz, your attendance quiz says use substitution, use elimination, or even use graphing for that matter, you can use this method right here to get your answer. However, if it says use substitution or use elimination or use graphing, you must use that method to get full credit. Can you use your rref command to check your answer? Absolutely. And in fact, I encourage it. I love it if you check your answer. But if you only use this command here and you don't use the method that it tells you to, you're not going to get full credit. So please keep that in mind as we go forward.